The time is precisely 1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Danushka Madhavela and read by Chandima Veerakorn. Headlines. Government MPs say that the President or the government will not sell the country's properties to other countries. Rescue missions of the ship that ran underground in the Sri Lankan waters have commenced. Foreign ministers of Sri Lanka and the Philippines agreed to enhance diplomatic relations. President Council Dr. E.A.D. Silva said that the activities of the Qadi courts in the country will be operated under the Judicial Services Commission. UK Prime Minister talks to Biden in first call since inauguration. Local stories in detail. More than 18,500 PCR tests were carried out in the country yesterday. More than 500 COVID-19 infected persons have been identified through the test carried out yesterday. Many of them are from Colombo district. The number of COVID-19 patients identified from Colombo yesterday is 197. In addition, 110 infected persons have been identified from Kandy and 106 from Gampaha. Police media spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana says that rapid antigen tests will be carried out in Colombo district today. Special operations will also be carried out to nab the people who do not follow health guidelines. He says that more than 2,700 persons who did not follow the health guidelines have been arrested at present. President Council Dr. E.A.D. Silva said that the activities of the Qadi courts in the country will be operated under the Judicial Services Commission. The President's Council says that Qadi courts are essential to clear some legal matters regarding the Islamic law. The foreign ministers of Sri Lanka and the Philippines agreed to focus on new strategies to further strengthen the existing economic, political, social and international relations between the two countries. The agreement has been reached during a telephone conversation that Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena had with Minister of Foreign Affairs Teodoro L. Locsin to congratulate the government of the Philippines on the 60th anniversary of the establishment of the diplomatic relations between Sri Lanka and the Philippines. During this telephone conversation, the two sides also discussed about the establishment of an embassy of the Philippines in Sri Lanka and the commencement of flights between the two countries. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Philippines has agreed to share their best practices in securing many employment opportunities for Filipino workers in foreign countries, and further, he has agreed to identify the methods available and to assist Sri Lanka in this endeavour. During the talks, both parties have agreed to work together in the manufacturing and services sector and to provide greater opportunities for the exchange of views between the chambers of commerce and industry of the two countries. Minister Gunawardena expressed the gratitude of the government of Sri Lanka to the government of the Philippines for its support over the past 60 years in maintaining friendly diplomatic relations with Sri Lanka. Government MPs say that the President or the government will not sell the country's properties to other countries. They say that the people of this country have elected President Gotabaya Rajapaksa for this position due to the bad practices of the previous government. The MPs say that they have fought against the previous government's decisions of selling Hambantota Port, East Terminal of the Colombo Harbour, Trincomalee oil storages and many other public properties to the foreign countries. Navy media spokesman Captain Indika De Silva said that rescue missions of the ship which met with an accident in the Sri Lankan waters have commenced at present. He said that several rescue ships and diving teams have been deployed at the scene. Investigations will be carried out to check the damage caused to the ship. This ship was carrying raw materials from Abu Dhabi to Sri Lanka when it was stalled in a rock near Trincomalee. To end the local news, the headlines again. Government MPs say that the President or the government will not sell the country's properties to other countries. Rescue missions of the ship that ran aground in the Sri Lankan waters have commenced. Foreign ministers of Sri Lanka and the Philippines agreed to enhance diplomatic relations. President Council Dr. E.A.D. Silva said that the activities of the Qadi courts in the country will be operated under the Judicial Services Commission. That ends local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
On the main news story, Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena stated that Sri Lanka opened its borders after much consultation and preparation following best practices, keeping safety and security of its citizens as paramount and that of the visitors. He made these remarks while addressing the 70th ministerial meeting of the Asian Cooperation Dialogue held last week. The meeting was held under the theme New Normal and Safe and Healthy Tourism. Commending the government of the Republic of Turkey for hosting the ACD ministerial meeting virtually, Minister Gunawardena stated that Sri Lanka is committed to the ambitious work plan of the ACD in line with the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development to promote inclusive growth in the region. Commenting further, the minister stated that in line with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's policy framework, Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor, Sri Lanka is focusing on a friendly and non-aligned foreign policy with special focus on Asia. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
On Watchlight, the residents in Dharanigala say that the culvert at the Pallavatta temple in Dharanigala has been sunken due to heavy rain experienced in the area. They face many difficulties in their travelling due to this reason. They request the relevant authorities to renovate this culvert. This is for the attention of the chairman of the Dharanigala Pradeshiya Sabha.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always. All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Headlines of the world news. UK Prime Minister talks to Biden in first call since inauguration. Portugal to hold presidential election as COVID cases surge. Pakistan to prepare COVID vaccine locally, says Qureshi. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has spoken to Joe Biden for the first time since the new US president was inaugurated. Mr. Johnson said on Twitter that he looked forward to deepening the long-standing alliance between the UK and the US as they drove a green and sustainable recovery from COVID-19. Mr. Biden was sworn in as president and Kamala Harris as vice president in a ceremony in Washington on Wednesday. The Prime Minister said their inauguration was a step forward for the US. The Downing Street spokesman said Mr. Johnson warmly welcomed the president's decision to rejoin the Paris Agreement on climate change and the World Health Organization, both abandoned by Mr. Biden's predecessor, Donald Trump. People are only allowed to leave home for essential work or trips and to vote under Portugal's current lockdown. Portuguese voters, largely confined to their homes due to a strict COVID-19 lockdown, will pick a new president on Sunday, but many fear going to the polls could worsen a surge in coronavirus cases and low turnout is expected. The country of 10 million people, which fared better than others in the first wave of the pandemic, now has the world's highest 7-day rolling average of new cases and deaths per capita. Authorities reported a record daily toll of 274 deaths and more than 15,300 new cases on Saturday. Pakistan Foreign Minister Shah Mohammad Qureshi has said the trials of Chinese COVID-19 vaccine are successfully underway in Pakistan, after which the country intends to prepare the vaccine at the local level with the help of China. Addressing various ceremonies in his constituency here on Saturday, Mr. Qureshi said the government was making efforts for the provision of vaccine to every citizen. Till January 31st, China will donate 500,000 doses of the vaccine to Pakistan, which we have requested the Chinese government that we need 1.1 million doses in near future, he said, adding China had assured Pakistan for the provision of the required quantity of the vaccine till the end of February, for which we are grateful. To end the world news, the headlines again. UK Prime Minister talks to Biden in first call since inauguration. Portugal to hold presidential election as COVID cases surge. Pakistan to prepare COVID vaccine locally, says Qureshi. That ends world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always. All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Moving on to development news. Manager, Air Services and Traffic Rights at the Civil Aviation Authority of Sri Lanka, Ishara Gunawardena, said 2 new airlines have begun flights to Sri Lanka while 5 others await approval. He said Ethiopian Airlines and Maldivian Airlines started operations to Sri Lanka last month. Ethiopian Airlines mainly carry cargo and will also bring down UN officials to Sri Lanka, while Maldivian Airlines is currently operating the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport for ship crew exchanges. He said that Go Air, an Indian airline, has obtained the license and is yet to start operations. The other airlines that await approval are Air Falcon, which has already operated several cargo flights to Sri Lanka, Jazeera Airways from Kuwait that will bring in passengers, Jetstar, an Australian airline, and Sky Capital Airlines from Bangladesh. Gunawardena said Jazeera Airways will start operations on an ad hoc basis in the few weeks. And moving on to sports news, today is the third day of the second test between Sri Lanka and England in Galle. Sri Lanka team scored 381 runs for all out in their first innings, while Angelo Matthews took 110 runs. In reply, England were 181 runs for the loss of 4 wickets at the lunch break today. Captain Joe Root scored a century for England. And on business news, private sector borrowed 215.5 billion rupees from banks since July to January 8, 2021, compared to 130.2 billion rupees in the same period last year, amid accelerated economic activities. The rebound in December borrowings emerged as the turning point against the sharp decline by 88 PC witnessed in the previous 5 months of the current fiscal year compared to the same period in financial year 2020. That ends business news.
Economic News, courtesy of...
Congratulations on your promotion. It will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh, no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And on economic news, the Special Economic Zone Bill will be enacted hopefully by the end of next month, under which the Colombo Port Commission will be set up to oversee operations, market and position the port city to be a competitive investment hub in the region. Colombo Port City Executive Project Manager, Director Raja Edrisuriya said the legislation for the SEZ has been approved and it will be in force soon, enabling the Commission to carry on marketing and promotional activities that will help attract global investors to the financial city. The legislation is aimed at making the port city the country's first service-oriented, specialized economic zone. That ends economic news.
Hello, Puta. Did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down, everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge.
LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And finally, on the weather report, a few showers will occur in eastern province. Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places in the Sabaragamu province and in Gaul and Mathura districts after 2 p.m. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. Mainly fair weather will prevail over other parts of the island. Misty conditions can be expected at western, central and Sabaragamu provinces during the morning. To end this bulletin of news, the headlines again. Government MPs say that the president or the government will not sell the country's properties to other countries. Rescue missions of the ship that ran aground in the Sri Lankan waters have commenced. Foreign ministers of Sri Lanka and the Philippines agree to enhance diplomatic relations. President Council Dr. E.A.D. Silva said that the activities of the Qadi courts in the country will be operated under the Judicial Services Commission. UK Prime Minister talks to Biden in first call since inauguration. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.